Hey, what's going on, guys? Derek James here. I wanted to hop on. I had a few minutes this evening. I want to do a short little video today. As you can see, I'm sharing my screen. Now I have this restroom cleaning opportunity that I wanted to quickly run through and tell you guys basically what I find in it, kind of show you how to read it if you're not used to reading these opportunities. I think a lot of you are new and you're trying to get your first contract. So I want to start doing some more of these, showing you how to read, showing you how to bid, kind of go through the process. I want to do it as quickly as possible though, just to show you that it doesn't have to be a long, convoluted process. So we will jump right in. So I found this off of FBO. This is Bardwell Park Restroom Cleaning Service. So this is a professional services contract. And we can see by the information that we have up here, this is for the Army Corps, Fort Worth. Quickly jumping over here to the side. This was posted March 7th. So this is today. And the response date is March 25th. So if this is something you're interested in, you have a few weeks to get on top of it and get at it. There is no set aside here, which tells you that this is a full and open competition, which means you could literally be competing with Boeing or any large company. That's something that you have to decide if you want to do, because a lot of the larger companies have economies of scale, and that allows their pricing to come down, which makes it very hard for small businesses to compete. But apparently a PCR was not involved into this to basically set this aside for small businesses. I'm not sure why. I've taken a peek at it. It doesn't seem to be a very large contract. But there's a background story to everything, and I'm just not sure what the reason for that was. Next, though, on the list we have the NAICS code. We have a 721211 for recreational vehicle parks and campgrounds. NAICS codes are hit or miss. You can always add them. If this is something you're responding to, you want to make sure that this NAICS code is added to your SAM registration, so that if you do win the proposal, they can actually award it to you. Otherwise, if you do not have the NAICS code in your company profile in SAM, you will not be able to be awarded, and that is a big problem. Scrolling down next, we have some really good information. I usually look at this right away. It lets me know where the contracting office is located, Fort Worth, Texas, and also, maybe more importantly, where the work is being done. And that's the difference here. This is the place of performance, and this is in Ennis, Texas. I have no idea where that was, but if I wanted to know, I would just hop on Google Maps. But also very importantly, we have the contracting specialist who is the POC on this, and they even look at that, gave you a phone number, which is usually a 50-50 shot getting a phone number, or sometimes you just get an email address. But we see here we have Kadia Freeman, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If you have any questions, and also when it comes time to submit, that is the person you are going to submit to. I'm going to quickly go through this little jargon here. More importantly, I want to get into the document that is the actual RFP, so you guys can actually get to look at what an RFP looks like. If you're somebody who's looking to bid, those are things that you're going to have to be very comfortable with very quickly in order to feel comfortable submitting bids. But just real quickly, this is a proposal, as I mentioned, for the Army Corps, and this is to perform facility cleaning and litter removal services at the Bardwell Lake. They have this sentence next: the contractor shall, which you always see, contractor shall furnish all labor, materials, supplies, tools, transportation, permits, and equipment necessary to maintain the facilities in a clean and sanitary state, free of litter, garbage, refuse, excess debris, in accordance with the contract and all applicable laws. Basically, they're just saying if you get this job, you have to do whatever it takes to get the job done, rather, in accordance with the PWS or the statement of work. They want you to clean all the restrooms, surfaces, disinfect the sinks, counters, showers, urinals, and toilets. So those are the things that they're going to be needing you to do. An adequate supply of rolls of toilet tissue shall be maintained. So these are all things that you have to roll up into your pricing, and that's important that you cover all your bases on these things and put in a little bit extra, because it's very oftentimes when you're doing the work for the contract, the contracting officer's rep, the Corps may say that, you're supposed to do this, and, you read your contract and you find out you are and you didn't price for it. Well, you want to have a little cushion in for those things. If there ever is a question or a disagreement, though, a contracting officer's rep or the Corps, which is the person who's assigned on your contract, to be boots on ground and kind of overlook your contract. If there's ever a disagreement or a confusion, they're there to enforce the contract, but they cannot make changes. They cannot tell you what to do. The Corps cannot do that. And sometimes you get bossy Corps and they like to tell you that stuff. They cannot. They are overstepping their boundaries. Only the contracting officer can do that. Only the person who is warranted to obligate government funds can interpret a contract and basically answer those questions on whether you should or should not be doing something. Just a little side note there for you. And where I left off, I was saying that these are kind of things that you can check across your proposal. Clear clogged drains for your pricing. Maintain vault toilets as relatively odor-free and fluid levels to a minimum of 6 inches above. So these are things that you want to know. So that's really everything that I look for on this front screen page of the FBO page. We have a pretty good idea of what's going on here. We know when this proposal was due. We know who we're competing against. We know what NAICS code we need to have. We know who the POC is if we need them, where this is being done, generally speaking. We know a little bit about the work. So right here is a good point to say, like, if you're going to do a quick bid or no bid, you would know after the last 5 minutes that we just spent going through the summary page whether this is something you even want to dive into or not, because it takes a lot of time, and time is money. So this is at the point in time when I would be reviewing this and making a decision to whether go or no go. I haven't seen anything, if I was in this type of work, that would stop me from going after this, except for the fact that this is a not applicable set aside, which means it's a full open competition, unless they hide it somewhere in the proposal or the RFQ that I'll double check for in there, but they're supposed to be putting it here unless they just forgot to check the box. I might be a little weary, and I would want to do some research to find out who had this contract previously, because if it was a big boy, it's probably going to be harder for me to dethrone them. So without further ado, I want to dive in here. Do I already have it open? There you go. Cool. All right. So here is the attachment. So you can see, let's try to scroll in. March 7th, everything's validated. Okay, so now they check a box here. They're saying this acquisition is set aside 100% for small business. So this is what overrides that summary page. This is why you got to check, because these guys don't always fill the FBO page out properly. So now that was my one thing, like I said, that I was afraid of, competing against the big boys. Now I don't have to worry about that, because this is small business set aside. So I would be even more interested in something like this now. We see here we have our NAICS code reflected. And again, the due date is March 25th. Well, really, that's March 24th at midnight. So yeah, good stuff, guys. This is the first page. This is what's called an SF 1449. It gives you a lot of that same basic information. You see the phone number, the Army Corps, all the good stuff. So I want to make some progress and go through this a little bit quicker. Kind of the first page that you come across here is where you see these CLINs, or these item numbers. They call this part of the SF 1449 continuation sheet as well. This is oftentimes where you'll see the pricing. And there'll be an amount there, and sometimes there'll be it's called a CLIN underneath it, where you insert your price. But right here, they're telling us this is the base year. So base year, they've defined for us is 1 April 2019 through 31 March 2020. So we've got a solid 12 months, and they're got this proposal out because the contract is going to need to commence April 1st. So that means they have to give vendors and contractors time to bid this, submit their bids, and then they need time to review it, and they need to choose the winner, and then the winner needs to be notified, and then I don't know if there's going to be like a pre-con or some sort of start of work meeting. There's not usually, that's more of a construction type thing, but you know, they're going to get at least a notice to proceed, so that whoever the winner is, they can be ready to go April 1st. So that's what this is telling us, and they're telling us who the POC is, who we already know. Funded amount, this is a little bit different, maybe because it's Army Corps, but it's just going to be the amount for this 1 year as far as we're concerned. And there's a pricing sheet that we're going to see in a little bit that breaks it down to answer your questions regarding that. Here you'll see, remember this was item 1, so this is item 2, and they're just calling this an option year. An option is year. Contracting officer has the option to execute a following year. You'll put an amount in, and if they execute it, that means you will get that contract again for the following year. And again, we see we have the same dates with just the following year. Moving on, option year 2, same thing goes. Pretty easy, right, guys? Delivery information, sometimes they will have the dates in here. They usually have the dates in here, the period of performance, and a address, but it looks like they didn't fill that out. And you'll see that sometimes. Instructions to offerers, they're saying C block 1449, which we just reviewed. Quotes shall be accepted via email only, so you will not be dropping this off in person. Just letting you know that you need to be set up in SAM. You need to have a DUNS number. You need to have your reps and certs filled out. And this is saying the SBA has increased the monetary-based industry size standards. You must update your reps and certs and your NAICS codes to update those changes. And then also this letting us know that the SCA wage determination, let's see, does not apply to contracts registered in SAM as a sole proprietorship. So if you're a sole proprietor, you don't have to abide by the Service Contract Act that appears. Most of you will not be that. Most of you will be a LLC or a S Corp or a C Corp. So the wage determination will apply to you. So moving on, they've included this little checklist for us. And this is where they're telling you, okay, your ear should perk up. Proposal time, this is what they want. And the good news is they really don't want a proposal. They just want some information filled out with a price on it. This one is really not that hard, which also means the barrier to entry for other companies is going to be low. So you're really going to have to compete on price for this. So they want you to attach the bid schedule, which I think is below, contractor information sheet below, attach that. You must have your SAM registration. We already know that. Make sure this NAICS code is in your SAM registration. We got that. Scan all documents as a single PDF. And then email your proposal to civops@usace.army.mil. Okay, so I hope you guys are all with me at this point in time. I cannot see the comments if there are any while we're live, because Facebook Live only allows me to share my screen. It does not allow me to toggle back and forth. So I'm just going to keep charging on here. If you have questions, if you are watching this live, post them in the comments, and I will answer them in the reply to the comments on the replay of this video, okay? So don't worry about that. Here's the contractor information sheet that they wanted you to fill out that we just referenced. This is just basic common sense, guys. They want you to either check, I am submitting on several janitorial service contracts. The team below shall be available for all, or I am submitting on several janitorial contracts and this team only applies to, and then they want you to say which they're calling them, the different parks, but there's the different locations, because there's a number of locations where the restrooms need to be cleaned, and we'll see that pretty quickly. So they're saying team members' data is required for 2 team members. So they want 2 people with their SOCH, and the event the award is issued the contract to, and who do they want that to be? So your company information here. But this is, I believe, the people doing the work, and they want the social so that they can run the background check to make sure you're not proposing people that have a background that would prohibit them from getting on the park sites, because a lot of these government or federal or whatever you want to call it, whatever the jurisdiction may be, if you don't have a clean background, you can't get on there and you can't do the work. So they want to make sure that you have people that are cleared. So you need to fill this out and you need to attach it. Not that hard, right? It's really not that bad. And this is just a continuation of this because they ran out of space. Here's your QASP. This is your quality assurance plan. They're going to want you to have a management approach. This is all basic stuff that you have in any sort of staffing or services contract. Management approach, management strategy that you should have on hand for all of your contracts. It's also a quality control plan, which they're calling out here as well. But I didn't see that they've asked for you to submit it in the proposal submission. However, any contract that you were performing work on, you're supposed to have a quality document that basically quality controls the job. So it's whoever's doing the work, you should have a copy of it on a job site. Your core may want to see a copy of it, and contracting may ask to see a copy of it. It's up to their discretion. So that's kind of what they're talking about here. They're talking about the roles and responsibilities now of the contracting officer and the core that I mentioned earlier. There's a lake manager also specific for this contract. And they're talking about how the core is going to monitor this contract. Feedback on the job. So you'll want to read through all this stuff and how they're going to analysis of quality assurance assessment. So they're going to use these different standards, monthly performance, issues and concerns of both parties, to monitor the performance and the quality of the contract of the winner. Okay, so now we have a attachment 1. See, I hope you're seeing that this isn't really that hard. It's a lot of reading, and I'm going through it really fast. I'm trying to go through it as quickly as possible. I'm trying to give emphasis and time to the things that are important, and I'm trying to quickly go over the things that are not as important that you could kind of just read on your own. This is basically like a timeline, if you will. Performance requirements summary. Contractor submits accurate weekly reports. So if you get the contract, this is what you need to do. And usually the core basically will communicate with you on these things, and they're really not a big deal. You just need to make sure that you're doing your job correctly. You're documenting everything. You're doing your daily reports if you have those, or if there's just kind of these monthly quality checks that they're talking about here. They're talking about $25 for each documented instance when service is recorded on the daily report and the container was determined not to have been serviced. So they're going to give you a little bit of incentive, positive or negative, excuse me, basically when they do spot checks and the restrooms and the garbage, things aren't clean, they're not emptied, they call these incentives. So good for you to know if you are going after this contract. So here is the second attachment, sample quality assurance monitoring form. So this is the form they'll be using to monitor you. A good FYI, I would print that off and just keep that in your folder. Well, here's the PWS, the statement of work, restroom cleaning services for Bardwell Lake, Ellis County. So this is a non-personal services contract, which means it is providing service with people. To provide facility cleaning, we already know all this. Trying to quickly go through this. This base bid consists of cleaning restroom facilities throughout the 4 parks. All right, good. So now we know it's 4 parks. They're letting us know that you can get site access by Mr. Jeremy Spencer for this one. And here's his email and his phone number. So they're talking about, well, these are just definitions. If you don't know what it means for what organic litter means, sometimes it's good to have those to refer back to. Facility cleaning standards, how they want you to clean, litter removal, special reporting requirements, list of names and addresses of all employees who will be working for the contractors. So when you get it, they need to know everybody who's going to be on staff. Here's our period of performance clearly defined, which we already discovered. Here's some general information, security requirements. Background checks. I don't believe there's any, like, yeah, there's no, like, you don't need secret clearance or anything like that for this. You need to be able to pass the background check. It's going to be a post-award conference core. All good. All travel costs should be included within each line item price in the contractor's bid. That's important. Don't expect them to be paying for your travel. Sometimes they break it out and they allow you to price for that. And other times they don't. So you want to build the price in on this particular contract. All right, we have performance requirements summary. I believe that's basically what we just looked at. Pretty much exactly the same thing. Zoom this out a little bit. Deliverable schedule, pre-work. Okay, so here's the pre-work conference I was talking about. Accident prevention plan, an APP, MSDS sheet, whatever chemicals you're going to be using, quality control plan, quality control report, and your invoice. So here you go. Here's your paper deliverables. and when. So they're saying 15 days after award for the APP. So as soon as you get the award, you want to be on top of these guys because you could immediately fall behind. I've been on projects where the PMs did not submit this stuff. They kind of forgot about it and they thought that the government didn't really want it, or they're just joking when they put this in here. And then they got notification saying, hey, you're 2 weeks late on your APP. Just because we didn't remind you didn't mean that you didn't have to do it. So, you know, there's very few things that you have to like print off and pay attention to. Pay attention to things like this, you know, and this is your PM's job, your program manager. Make sure they know what they're doing. And if they're a good PM, they'll know. So here's really good information. Here's kind of meat and potatoes of the PWS. They're letting us know location. Are they letting us know location? Yeah. Highview Park has 3 restrooms. Love Park has 2. Mott Park has 2. And then this Waxahachie Creek Park has 5. So this tells you something we really didn't know, which is very key to putting a price on something. This is 12 restrooms for summer season 1, that is. And they're defining that as 1 April through 30 September. Now that's going to change starting 1 October through March. It's only 4 restrooms. And that's because of the seasonality, these other parks are going to be closed. So you also need to price for that too, because if you didn't catch this, you would quickly overbid this contract and try and like bid out the whole year. So even though, you know, like we looked at the base year, remember, it was for 12 months. April 1 through 31 March, but you have to do the summer and the winter, and you need to price those out differently. Frequency and special conditions. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I believe, yeah, they're straight up telling you here the days that they want them cleaned. So, hey, look at that. Like, they're giving you the schedule. All right, guys, I'm going to try to wrap this up because I don't want it to go too long. Very quickly here, they're giving you maps of the parks. That's all good stuff. And then here is your SCA wage determination. And as they said, unless you're a sole proprietor, if you are an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, or any other Corp, you have to abide by this. So you check out which counties, and you know, this is, I'm sure they gave you this for the right county. And this is the minimum based on the labor category that you need to pay the people performing on this contract. You have to abide by SCA wage. They're letting you know health and welfare is this. You can always tell when the text kind of changes to this typewriter script. This is always how the SCA wage looks. And so here, one of the last things here is the bid sheet that they said needs to be attached, and this is the thing. This is it. This is how they want you to price. So they're saying for summer, for Highview, which is 3 bathrooms each, what is the price? So this is going to allow them to see how you're breaking out summer, 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 winter, 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 winter. So they want to see the difference. And when you add these up, it'll be, show them what a year looks like. And then they're doing the same thing for the option year 1 and option year 2. So I hope that makes sense, guys. After that, it's not much else. It quickly goes into the reps and certs. And that's what a whole lot of this is the reps and certs that you should become comfortable with knowing what is in here. I am not going through this part because I've done it a million times. And they may have put it in here twice because it's usually only about half this long, but I'm not sure. Yep. So you guys, I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, if there's any certain type of RFQ, RFP you want me to take a look at and break down. If you've got one that you're actually looking at, use me as your resource. I will do I'll do a live on it, a live video, and we can kind of go through it. This was, again, just going through something generic, and I just picked this one because I thought it was a good candidate. And yeah, that's really about it. So I'm going to sign off for now, guys. If you're watching this on replay, again, if you can still put comments if you have any questions. Hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys next time.